Hey everyone, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about something called classification and taxonomy. So I'm sure some of y'all have heard of this. Okay, so I'm actually going to take my notes kind of like how I do if you were in the classroom. Okay, so classification and taxonomy. Okay, today is the 14th. Okay, so some of this may be new. Okay, some of it may not be, but that's okay. So we're going to be learning about, how we can classify as different animals. So a good example would be if we think about, some of the big cats that are here in Texas, we can think of mountain lions. Okay, so mountain lions actually have several names. They can be mountain lions, they can be cougars, they can be pumas, and even in Florida, they call them the Florida panther. And, even though they have all these different names, they're all technically the same thing. So if you were traveling overseas, how would you be able to explain that that's the same animal when they have all these different names? Well, we're going to go over something called classification, and classification is a system to name animals scientifically. To name animals, / organisms, I should not have said animals, scientifically using their Latin names. Okay, so like all things biology, we like to do some classification. Okay, we like to do an order of things. So first, we're going to talk about our biggest order. Okay, so first we're going to start with the biggest order, which is domain. Okay, so domain is going to refer to what type of cell we have. So for example, so for our domain, we could have domain eukarya. Okay, so domain eukarya has many cells, and if you remember what a eukaryote is, the cells have a nucleus. Okay, we know there's a lot of organisms that have cells that have a nucleus. Okay, so we want to be able to get a lot smaller. We want to get more specific. So our next order is going to be kingdoms. And you may remember talking about kingdoms when you're in elementary school. So an example of a kingdom is going to be kingdom Animalia. Okay, so if we think about some of the characteristics that animals have, we know that animals are multicellular. We know they're heterotrophs. And then something that separates kingdom Animalia from, like, for example, kingdom Plantae is that they have movement. Okay, so they have complex movement. Okay, so complex movement. I know I'm running out of space, so I'm going to take a picture of these and post them up. All right, so kingdom is a lot smaller than domain, but I can get even smaller. Okay, so my next one is going to be phylum. So an example with phylum would be phylum Chordata. Okay, for those of you that don't know what a chordata is a backbone. Okay, so this is anything that has a skeleton or nerves in the spinal cord. Okay, so nerves in the spine. So domain, kingdom, phylum. Let's get even smaller. Okay. Next we have class. Okay, so for example, class Mammalia. So we all know what mammals are. Okay, so if we're thinking, for example, about phylum Chordata, that could include things like fish, birds, reptiles. Those are not mammals. We're trying to get more specific. So if we think about mammals, they all have hair at some point in their life. Okay, so they have live birth and milk for their young. And they're warm-blooded. Okay, so those are all characteristics of mammals. Again, I can get even smaller. I know there's different types of mammals. Okay, so next is order. So when I'm talking about order, I can talk about, for example, order Carnivora. Okay, so y'all all know what carnivores are. They're meat eaters. And they have sharp teeth. Oops. Okay, so they usually have little canines. Okay. Again, there's a lot of different types of carnivores, okay, that are mammals. So next, let's go to family. Okay, I just realized, hopefully I don't run out of room. Okay, so for example, okay, I can have family Felidae. So family Felidae, okay, we're talking about our little felines. Okay, so if you think about a feline's a cat. I'm actually going to write it over here because I'm worried I'm going to run out of room. So family Felidae, okay, they have great balance. And retractable claws. Okay, and I know I'm running out of space. I'll post these up after I'm done. Okay, so after family, okay, there's a lot of different types of cats. Okay, because if I think about it, great balance, retractable claws, that also includes some of my big cats. Okay, let's say I want to do a small cat. Okay, so next I can go to genus. Okay, so maybe I want to talk about small cats. Okay, so I'm going to talk about genus Felis. Okay, so these are my small cats. Okay, and something that distinguishes a small cat is that they cannot roar. Okay, that's why they meow. So all of our indoor cats, they meow. And if you think about wild small cats, they also meow. They don't roar. Okay, so it's only big cats that are going to roar. So big cats can be in family Felidae. Small cats are going to be in genus Felis. So lastly, we have species. So let's say we want to separate the small wild cats from the ones that you'd have at home. Okay, so for our species, okay, so we have species Catus. Okay, so this is our domestic house cat. All right. So with this, okay, our species is our most specific. It's our smallest group that we have. If we climb all the way up here, okay, domain is the biggest. Okay, so I'm actually going to write that right here. Okay, so this is the biggest. All right, and then down here is the smallest. Okay, so the most specific. All right, so come back up here, domain eukarya. Okay, this is anything that's a eukaryote. Doesn't matter if it's plant, animal, protist, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, it could be a domain eukarya. Next, kingdom Animalia. So now we're ruling out the plants, we're ruling out the mushrooms. So we're just talking about animals. Phylum Chordata, we're just talking about animals with backbones. Okay, so no fish, no reptiles. Class Mammalia. Actually, this is where there's no fish, no reptiles. Sorry, that was my mistake. Okay, so class Mammalia, we're only talking about mammals. Okay. We're only talking about mammals that are carnivores. Okay, so now we're knocking out all of the herbivores and all the omnivores. Next, we're talking about Felidae. Okay, so we're talking about cats, big cats, small cats, extinct cats. Okay, we're only talking about cats. Then we're going to go down to genus Felis, which is our small cats. Okay, they can be small wild cats. And then lastly, species. Okay, species is going to be our domestic house cats. Okay, so this is an order of classification. That way, no matter where you are in the world, you know what animal you're talking about. So the last thing that I need to make note of is something called a scientific name. Okay, so scientific name, you're going to be using your genus and your species. Okay, so genus and species. We'll actually talk about that tomorrow during our warm-up. But for example, if you want to talk about a domestic house cat, you don't have to say all of these things. You can just say Felis catus, and that's going to be its scientific name. Okay, but most of us don't talk scientifically, and so we're just going to say a cat. So hopefully this was helpful. I will be posting up these notes. Please make sure you watch this video and understand. That way you're ready for tomorrow's work. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.